If you've been following this Florida property tax amendment, and if you're watching me, you probably have, I've got 5 updates for you today. Since it passed, this thing got an official name, a price tag that'll make your eyes water, 3 lawsuits, and a line buried in the official ballot text that tells you exactly where this is headed long term. Most people voting on this in December have no idea about any of it, so let's fix that for you. So most people right now are thinking this amendment is settled. It passed the legislature and it is going on the November ballot. End of story. We'll vote on it in a few months and we're done. That is the assumption. But in just the last few weeks, this thing has been moving fast. It's even hard for me to keep up with, so I apologize if any of this is outdated by the time that you watch this. The name change, the official cost estimate came in, and there are now 3 separate lawsuits trying to rewrite what you'll actually read on the ballot. And that court hearing is coming up here in a matter of days. If you're going to vote on this, you need the current picture, not the one from when it passed. Hi, I'm Jamie Kolev with the Kolev Group, and this is my 3rd video on this amendment. I've read the actual enrolled bill, I've run the real Cape Coral numbers, and I know this closely because it directly affects every homeowner and every person thinking about moving here, which I obviously care about. So here's what's changed since we last talked. When I first started covering this, it was simply HJR1F, which is a mouthful. It now has its official ballot designation, and we are calling this Amendment 3. That is the name that you are going to look for on your November 3rd ballot. If you're searching online for information, Amendment 3 is now the term to use, and knowing the exact name matters more than usual this time, because there's an active fight over what the rest of the ballot will actually say, which is where we're going to end up. Now, this is a small thing on its own, but it is a signal. This has moved from a proposal people were debating on to a real named numbered ballot question. It's happening, and it's time to actually understand it. And now that it's real, we finally have an official answer to the question everyone's been asking. What does this actually cost? When it passed, the working number for the lost local revenue was around $8.4 billion. That number has now been officially revised upward and significantly. Florida's Revenue Estimating Conference, the state's official nonpartisan number crunchers, now put the recurring cost at $12 billion a year. And here's the part that matters most. That $12 billion figure does not even include the cost of the full elimination pathway. It's $12 billion for what's on the ballot right now, before any future expansion. That's money that currently funds city and county services. As I cover in an earlier video, it doesn't just vanish though, it shifts to fees or to service reductions. A bigger revenue number simply means a bigger shift. That's not an argument for or against it, it's just the scale we're now talking about. Now, the next update is one of the only pieces of genuinely good news in here for homeowners, and almost nobody has reported it. And I found this one by actually reading the enrolled bill text, because it's buried and nobody's talking about it. The $250,000 exemption is not permanently frozen at $250,000. Starting January 1st, 2029, that exemption amount is indexed to inflation. So it adjusts upward each year with the Consumer Price Index. So in 2030, 2031, and beyond, the amount of your home shielded from non-school taxes keeps climbing every year. Basically, after 2028, your savings isn't just a flat number you're going to save every year. It's slowly going to grow over time instead of staying at that fixed one amount. 20 years out, this exemption is worth meaningfully more than $250,000 in today's dollars. It's one of the few parts of this amendment that quietly gets better for homeowners the longer it's in place. And if you think this $250,000 is the finish line, the ballot text itself actually says otherwise. And this is the one I'd most want you to know about. The actual ballot summary, the words that will appear in front of you on your November ballot, contain a specific phrase most people have never seen. It says that the amendment requires through general law a schedule for full elimination. Full elimination. That language is in the official enrolled text. So this $250,000 exemption isn't being presented as the endpoint. It's written into the ballot itself as the first step towards eliminating non-school property taxes on homesteads entirely. Now, whether you find that exciting or alarming depends entirely on where you sit. But you should know that when you vote on Amendment 3, the ballot text itself frames it as the beginning of a longer road, not necessarily the destination. And that's not a spin from either side, it's just literally the wording that you'll be reading. And that wording, all of it, is exactly what the last update is a fight about. So right now, there are 3 separate lawsuits challenging Amendment 3. And here's the important part. They're not trying to kill the tax cut. They're fighting over the words you'll read on the ballot. The plaintiffs include 2 former mayors and 2 former state legislatures. One is Republican, one is Democrat, so this is not a one-party effort. They're arguing that the ballot title, Save Our Homes from Excessive Property Taxes, is a campaign slogan, not a neutral description. They argue the summaries promise, like ensuring funding for core services, are misleading because the amendment actually reduces the money available for those services. A Leon County judge has fast-tracked all 3 into a single hearing that's going to happen on July 29th because counties have to start printing these ballots in August. If the plaintiffs win, the Attorney General has to rewrite the ballot language, but this would not remove Amendment 3 from the ballot, but it could change the exact words that help you decide. So the version of this question you vote on in November may not be the version that exists today. It's rare, it's fast-moving, and it's worth watching. The governor, for his part, defends the current wording and argues that the timeline is too tight for a drawn-out court fight. But either way, we'll know a lot more here on July 29th, and I plan to do a video, so don't forget to subscribe. So let's pull all 5 of these together. We've had 5 updates since this bill passed. It's now Amendment 3, and the official cost is $12 billion a year and sadly climbing, and that's before the full elimination. Your savings grow with inflation after 2029, meaning more savings year over year. The ballot text openly calls for full elimination down the road, so that is actually the plan. And then we have these 3 lawsuits that could rewrite the ballot wording at the July 29th hearing. So if you thought this was settled, it isn't. It's one of the most actively moving ballot questions in the state right now. And now you're walking into November with the current picture instead of the one from June. And don't worry, I'll be making another one so you're fully informed by the time November rolls around. You came in for a quick update, and I hope you're leaving knowing more about Amendment 3 than most of the people who will actually be voting on it, including a line in the ballot text that even a lot of the news coverages are skipping right now. Now, if you want to know what Amendment 3 is actually going to do to your bill, not just generic examples, we've got a free tax simulator where you can run your real assessed value today, 2027, and 2028. It just takes about 60 seconds. It's in the link in the description, or you can find it at thekolevgroup.com/tax. This story is literally changing almost every week, and I'm sure it's going to change after that July 29th ruling. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll keep you current all the way to November 3rd. We'll see you in the next one.